Hi, and I'm thrilled that you're here. I'm Danny Ferrier, and we're going to be going on an adventure together. And this is part one of your course, and we're going to start to build the dream. So I trust that you're here for a reason. I trust that you want to be able to step into that version of yourself that can achieve anything that you set your mind to. But first, we need to be really clear on what that dream is, and then take conscious steps towards it to make sure that we are becoming who we need to be in order to achieve it. In this video, we're going to be talking about the beliefs that we need to have about ourselves in order to achieve it, and also the standards that we need to set for ourselves to make sure that we are taking action that is in line with our vision. It's so easy to not commit to having a big picture goal for ourselves because there's a lot of fear. And a lot of people sit on the fence and they don't make decisions because they're afraid that they'll fall short. They're afraid of failure. And I trust that you being here means that you're ready to lean into the fear. You're ready to lean into the fact that you can fail, but because you are taking conscious steps to get there, that fear is not going to hold you back anymore, and that means that failure is not even an option, and that you're stretching yourself so much that the fear is still going to be there, and you're okay with that. And I don't want to work with people that are sitting on the fence and not making these goals because of the chance of failure. I want to be working with people that are taking action because they believe that they're worth it. So in this video, I trust it's going to help you to understand how to set up the environment in your mind in order to achieve your goals. So what is your big picture vision? What does 10 years' time look like? And if you don't know, that's okay. I've created a workbook for you, and you'll see in Building the Vision section that there's some provoking questions that will help you answer this. And if you've got a really clear vision for yourself, congratulations, that's fantastic. This video is going to help you to set up the environment and also help you to understand why people don't achieve their goals and what tends to happen when people set goals for themselves and then they don't achieve them. Because you see, it takes nothing to dream, and it takes everything to bring that dream to life. And that's the commitment that we make to ourselves. That's why the beliefs are a fundamental part of creating that new being, that version of yourself that can achieve the goals. And I want to just set up the frame here, that sometimes it's easy to go into overwhelm of, I don't know what my dream is, or how am I going to get there? But just sit with that and know that through this program, you will learn how to take those steps. And that is a beautiful thing, isn't it? That you don't have to know right now because you're on a journey and because you're going to be learning all of the things that you need in order to take those conscious steps. And with my support and with my provoking questions, you will know where you want to be in 10 years' time as an outcome of this program. So let's jump into it. And I'd like to start by identifying some of the challenges that is really common for business owners, especially and leaders, when they're setting a big picture vision for themselves, is that doubt or that imposter syndrome or that fear of success. Maybe there's a bit of tall poppy syndrome there, that you don't want to stand out too much because the crowd might cut you down. And these are really common challenges. And I suspect that you being here means that you're ready to be that tall poppy You're ready to go against the status quo and have those big dreams for yourself because you value yourself enough to know that you can be successful. So, what are the benefits of knowing your big picture dream? Well, first of all, you've got some criteria. If you don't know where you're heading, then you're making decisions here and there and everywhere. And you spread yourself too thin. You just give everything a go. But we need criteria. We need to know where we're heading so that we can make decisions in line with that. It gives us a focus in a way. We want to develop outcome-focused thinking because without outcome-focused thinking, our businesses won't be able to be sustainable. And outcome-focused thinking is a skill. Not everyone has it. Not everybody knows how to have that big picture vision for themselves and then take small steps towards it. And that's okay, because we're here to learn that. One of the really important things for me that I've noticed is to love where I'm at. Because it's so easy to think, man, I wish I was like them, or I wish I had already achieved this, or I wish that I had started earlier. Yeah, I know. The same thing happened to me when I started in business. Saw all of these really successful people and I thought, man, I just want to be there. But it's about you loving where you're at. Loving that you're on this journey and you will get there. No doubt about it. Because you've committed to yourself by doing this program, and that makes you part of the top 10% of people who decide that they're ready for growth, who make the decision to move forward and to get support along the way. Because you don't need to do it on your own, and it's about you stepping into that version of yourself that you've always wanted to be. The other benefit of knowing what your dream is that you build trust with yourself. Trust is built by making a promise and following through on that promise. And we've all had experiences in childhood where we've lost trust. Some of us have more doubt than others, and the trust isn't as firm as you'd like it to be. But setting goals, having that big picture outcome for yourself, and then being able to break it down into steps and achieving those steps helps you to build that certainty, that deep certainty within yourself that lets you know that you can achieve anything. And that's why goal setting is so important. And it's so important to do it in a structured way so that we know that we're achieving those benchmarks. We know that we are taking conscious action towards that same outcome and knowing what evidence we have that's going to tell us that we are actually achieving those things that we set out to achieve. I like to relate it to the metaphor about a tomato. When you plant a tomato seed, you find out what that tomato seed needs. You find out what kind of soil it needs, how much water it needs, how much light it needs. And that's the same thing with goal setting. You set yourself a really big goal, you plant that seed, and then you find out what it needs to grow. And that's you growing. That's you finding out what kind of belief you need to have about yourself in order to get there. Or what do you need to consider? So many things are not up to us, rather, are outside of our control. But so many things are inside of your control. And finding out what it is that you need to be able to show up differently, to be able to lean on your support network, all of those things are inside of your control. And all the rest of it, well, you can just let that go, because the world is a crazy place sometimes, and if you allow those things to get you down, or you use those things as excuses to not achieve your goals, that's where a lot of people get tripped up. Another frame I'd like to bring to this is that a lot of people think that they will believe that they're successful when they get there. If I achieve this, then I will believe this about myself. And I'm sure you've noticed that. And the trouble with that is you're always waiting to prove to yourself that you should believe that about yourself. And honestly, the achievements are not what makes us. Your soul is perfect just the way that it is. And you don't need to prove to yourself or anyone else that what you're doing is going to make you a better person. You already are that person. And you're just highlighting a new part of yourself that already exists. And you're just inviting it to the surface. So today, as we talk about taking on different beliefs for yourself, knowing that it's important to believe it now as you achieve your goal, rather than waiting to achieve your goal and then believing it about yourself. Does that make sense? Awesome. So I trust that this is a really important message for you to hear at this stage of your journey, and really excited for you to be having this approach towards goal setting. And I also had to go through this whole emotional experience myself, daring to believe that what I wanted to achieve was possible, and showing up for myself and building that resilience to get to where I am today. And I'm so proud of where I am at, because I went on the journey, I learned all these skills, and now it's my turn to bring you along and help to support and champion you. So like I said, you've got your workbook where you'll be able to break down your goals. So have that to one side, because there's also some questions in there around your beliefs and the standards, which we're going to go into now. So step one of knowing your goals is knowing what those outcomes are. And as an example, when we're knowing our outcomes, we don't want to just know where we're heading, but we need to know what categories there are to consider. So, for example, for me, for my coaching business, my big picture goal is to create a program and to have a group coaching program, and also to become a public speaker and facilitator. So, what categories do I need to consider? I need to consider my coaching skills. I need to consider my networking skills. I need to consider selling and marketing, my business skills, and of course, studying. And when you break things down into categories like that, it makes it so much easier to understand the goal in a complex way. To know that you are considering all of the elements that you need to consider. So, when you've got your big picture goal, and if you don't, that's okay, but having that awareness around what is important to you, and then what do you need to consider from that. So that's step one. What do you need to consider? Now, step two is to build those beliefs about yourself. The beliefs are our fundamental guiding light. And beliefs are really interesting because the definition of a belief is something that we take to be true that is not based on facts. So, as a child, we've all had different experiences, and as we're developing, we subconsciously develop beliefs about ourselves, not based on any factual information, but based on the way that we feel, or based on the way that somebody else feels, and we have absorbed that, and as a result, we take on that belief about ourselves. Sharon Pearson, my mentor, I remember she was sharing her story of transformation, and she was riddled with self-doubt. She had a really, really tough time stepping into who she wanted to be as a coach because there was so much fear. And she wrote on a piece of paper, and it said, "I'm fucking awesome." And at the time, she didn't believe it at all. And she put it on the back of the door in her room. And so every day she would show up and she would see that "I'm fucking awesome." And for 9 months, she didn't believe it. She just saw it there and she was like, okay, it's there, but she didn't absorb it. And slowly it was starting to resonate in her subconscious mind. And one day after 9 months, it clicked. And she said, man, I am fucking awesome. And she was able to step into that belief, and finally it resonated. And it sank in, and she started becoming that person, that version of herself that was fucking awesome. And I love that story because our subconscious mind is so powerful. Dr. Joe Dispenza shares that our conscious mind is only 10% of our capacity. So understanding the subconscious mind and how the subconscious mind can help us is extremely powerful. And our subconscious mind can also work against us. It can trip us up and can cause some bad behavior. But when we learn how to focus our subconscious mind, when we add to the positivity, when we add to the resilience, the resourcefulness of our subconscious mind and set ourselves up for success, then it really works for us. And that's what we want to do here. We want to create amazing beliefs about ourselves in order to help us get to our goals. So I wonder, what kind of beliefs do you need to have about yourself in order to achieve your goals? Is it the belief that you can do it? Is it the belief that you are worth it? Now, I don't know what your goal is, but I'm going to take a guess that it's something to do with success, because I know that you're in this program because you're hungry for success. And if you start to set these goals, then you will become successful. And recognizing that you need to have beliefs around you being successful. You need to be able to imagine yourself already successful so that you can achieve those goals. Another part of success is wealth. And a lot of us have some stuff about wealth. A lot of us maybe grew up with parents that either didn't value it or they were really, really tight. And so you rebelled against that. And you have more of a YOLO spending attitude. And actually this reminds me of a conversation with a friend that I had the other day. And she has a belief that she was born to be successful. And it's such a powerful belief. And that belief is emotionally driving her to be successful. So when you're creating these beliefs, don't just say, I can do it. It's got to be something that truly resonates with you. And so how we do this is to close down your eyes, to get in touch with what's going on inside you, and just ask yourself, what do I need to believe about myself in order for this goal to come to fruition? Is it that you need to believe that you can be wealthy? Is it that you need to believe that you can manage your team? Is it that you need to believe that your family will support you along the way? So maybe write down a couple of beliefs that are going to help you to achieve what you want to achieve. Now, in the previous step, we talked about categories to consider. So maybe look at those categories and write down a new belief for all of those categories. And like I said, you don't have to believe it right now. But as long as you are consciously creating these beliefs and you build your awareness around them, they will go into your subconscious mind and they will start to land. And the more you show up for yourself and the more you consciously choose to change the beliefs that you have about yourself, they will slowly start resonating. That's super important for this journey. Now, number 3, because our standards for ourselves are make or break. They're make or break for our goals, because if we don't have standards for ourselves, it's just a fluffy thing in the sky that's completely unobtainable. And I recognize that for me, the standards I needed were consistency. And consistency was going to bring me to my goal. And I'll give you another example as well. If you want to make $1 million, let's say, but you're still sleeping in the morning and you don't set that standard for yourself to get out of bed, well, that goal might be achievable if you've already taken that into consideration, and recognizing that if you got out of bed earlier because you'd set a standard for yourself, then you are going to achieve that goal faster. And that's really important. What other standards could you set for yourself? Because if you set these standards, then you will really be able to build that trust with yourself, because you're taking those small, consistent steps every single day that are going to help you to achieve those dreams and achieve those goals. Because you see, so many people set themselves up for failure. It's a sabotage technique. They don't know how to connect with that version of themselves that has achieved these goals. They self-sabotage. And I know that it can be really easy to sleep in the morning or to not set yourself up for success because success is scary. But when we set these standards for ourselves, we are slowly getting to that place that we want to get to. And that's the way that life happens. Because life isn't about one big moment, a huge event when you achieve your goals. It's about those small, consistent things along the way that are going to help you get there. One of the really important parts to your success, to your goals, to being able to achieve your outcomes is your daily routine. And there's a really beautiful exercise that I'm going to get you to do, which is called My Ideal Average Day. And I recommend that you do that in your workbook first, because you can use that as a guiding light. And that's about the standards that you want to set for yourselves. That's about, if you want to be successful, well, what are you going to eat every day that makes sure that when you get that success, you're able to be healthy and vibrant and thriving. And that'll bring you so much more joy and love in your life, because that goal wasn't about the goal. It was about who you became in the process. So I trust that you're loving this message. And it's important to recognize that you can have everything that you want in your life. All your dreams are possible. You just have to dare to believe that you can achieve them too. So type your comments below. Let me know what you think about this video. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.